This is Sidney Williams, and welcome to Flash of Fear. These are little pieces of fiction from earlier in my writing life, and most of them have appeared in various magazines and online publications sometimes. This one originally appeared for the first time in my collection, Scars and Candy, which is available from Crossroad Press. That collection drew together pieces that I had written earlier, much earlier in my writing life, and had been in various anthologies and magazines over time. This piece actually appeared for the first time in Scars and Candy. It was written when I was in grad school working on a Master of Fine Arts degree at Goddard College. And it provided just a little extra spice for that collection, which was, again, made up mostly of things that had appeared before over a period of time. Without further introduction or ado, this is Aleshia's Casserole. We'll get right to it. The aroma preceded Aleshia. Fanned by the swinging kitchen doors, hints of garlic and thyme reached the table just as she emerged with a serving dish clutched between oven mitt gauntlets. "That smells amazing," Sorella said. "It's a recipe from a website that I blended with an old family recipe," Aleshia said with a polite smile as she placed it on the waiting trivet. "I wish I could get better in the kitchen," Sorella said. "I'm sure that will come in time," Aleshia responded, looking toward a silent Martin, studying his expression. He looked uncomfortable or impatient. He wasn't checking his watch, but since he'd arrived, his body language had suggested obligation. After so many years, Aleshia could read it like a headline. "Would you like me to serve?" "We'll just reach for ourselves," he said, picking up the serving spoon. "No need to be overly formal." "Certainly true," Aleshia agreed, settling into a place across from the couple as the spoon slid deep to capture an ample share of potatoes. She'd made a point of picking up Yukon Gold. They were his favorites in casseroles, though he probably couldn't have named them. He offered Sorella the spoon when he'd finished, earning an enchanted gaze as their hands touched briefly. "Thanks, baby," she said, shoveling a smaller portion for herself. "Can't overdo. This is delicious, I'm sure, but I have to watch my weight, have to fit into the wedding dress." She tilted her head as she smiled, and that glossy black ponytail bounced with the movement. "Oh, no danger," Aleshia said, "with your figure and the way you work out." Wasn't everything about her perfect? "This is good," Martin said, making conversation, cutting short the gushing, but he seemed to be serious and to realize he would miss this sort of cooking. "Something you don't need to get used to," Sorella said. "All this bacon wouldn't be good for your heart." Sorella's menus consisted of veggie wraps and protein muffins, things calculated not to require a lot of time in the kitchen, things that would not add a millimeter to her hips or affect her body fat index. She intended to use those menus also to fight Martin's cholesterol and alleviate any need for little blue pills. "Sorry you won't be able to be at the wedding," Sorella said. "I thought you just got back from, well, where was it?" "Kentucky," Aleshia said. "I'm originally from Kentucky. Worked a while to get rid of my old accent. Family matters beckoned." "Well, I am glad we could all sit down together," Martin said with sincerity. He put down his fork and made calculated eye contact. "I know this isn't easy." She hadn't expected something so straightforward, but the pace that held her smile didn't fail. "Oh, you deserve so much," she said. "I know a life with Sorella holds a lot of promise. I understand what you want." "Thanks," he said again, and reached across the table to touch her hand. "I hope you find what you're looking for also." She smiled back, a genuine smile. "Where are you from in Kentucky?" Sorella asked when the connection had lasted too long. Eastern Kentucky near the Tennessee border. It's considered part of Appalachia, but you shouldn't believe everything you hear. What would I have heard about Appalachia? Sorella asked, pronouncing it awkwardly. Never mind, Aleshia said. It's just not all feuds and moonshine. Martin was massaging his left arm, a wrinkle on his brow. You all right, honey? Sorella asked. Yeah, just a tingle, nothing to worry about. I had it the other day, and it went away. My family comes from European stock, Aleshia said. My ancestors actually communed with the Cherokee when they settled. Sorella wasn't listening. Baby, if it's your heart, you're not supposed to wait for the pain to go away. Aleshia was surprised how deep her concern ran. Was there real affection or just apprehension that his heart might give out before their ties were legal? Realizing she was clutching her napkin in a fierce ball, Aleshia let her palm relax, taking a deep breath. Martin was still massaging his arm. I'm getting like ant bites. His next breath came only with effort. Sorella jerked back, massaging her arms through the sleeves of her tracksuit. That's funny. Feeling a little of that too. There's a lot of myth about the superstition in our region. Just not true, Aleshia continued. Sorella was struggling for breath now as she held Martin's face in her palms. He didn't look good. Honey, Marty, stay with me, baby. Eyes wide now. That night you felt the tingling, was it the night Aleshia was all upset about your leaving? That night you had to come console her? He didn't seem to have the ability to speak as he dragged a breath through tight lips. Sorella's eyes focused with terror on Aleshia, who lifted her eyebrows and nodded as the corners of her lips curled upward now, distinctively turning her smile to a grin. An arm Sorella was starting to lose control of flopped about, futilely trying to reach the pocket where she kept the trim little cell phone. You hear a lot about witchcraft in that area, Aleshia said. It's just not accurate. My grandmother was always said to be a witch, but there was no magic involved. It was all about herbs and roots. My grandmother got it from her grandmother. It had been handed down through the family for ages and ages. Martin slumped in his chair, and Sorella staggered away, lithe legs looking a little more rubbery than on the aerobics floor. It only seemed like black magic when she put her rivals into a coma, Aleshia said as Sorella sank to the floor. Really, the effect was just chemistry. And that's the end. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you will come back for another Flash of Fear and check out the other installments on the Flash of Fear playlist. And please feel free to visit my website and check out my other work, which includes short stories, novels, and comic book work, lots of things. And I hope you will watch for an upcoming anthology with a short story by me. The anthology has a great title, Cat Ladies of the Apocalypse. And my story in that collection is to be called The Witch of Washington Park. And thank you once again.